But me and him ain't ever had, like, we went out a couple times, but I already knew he was a hoe, and I wasn't going to date him like that. I'm like, I'm not messing with you like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Was I? Am I wrong for wanting 4 hot donuts, even though the sign was just turned off a minute before? She must have thought I was stupid or something. She's like, "Sir, we don't have hot donuts." Bitch, I see the donuts right there. I was looking at her and I looked over. When she said I looked over and I'm looking at the donuts in the hot oil. The secret was his dad had raped a woman.
Oh, Lord.
A black woman. And she had a son. And the son was his half brother, a black man.
Oh.
So he was like, he thought it was a lie.
Hey guys, if it's crazy.
All right, go ahead. Go now.
Wait.
Get in there! Oh my God!
Hey guys, welcome to the family mess. I'm Noah. And have a nice day.
Good God!
I love the family mess.
Oh
my God!
Oh my God.
All right.
What you got, Ian?
Welcome to the Family Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ian, and this is my wife and co-host, Nathalie. The Family Mess, the podcast about life with kids and all things adulting. Let's talk. Why are you still looking at your phone? Why can't we just...
Oh, I'm watching this thing about Monique because she's acting extra.
Did you want to talk about that first?
No, I don't want to talk
she's
about
acting?
She's not being crazy. She's just talking her truth, but it's just going to burn bridges.
Well, the truth is not working for everybody at the moment. You can't burn every single bridge in your life. It's not going to work out well for you.
Yes. Oh, so people know what we're talking about. Monique, the comedian,
yes,
has got beef with D.L. Hughley now.
All the other famous black people around she has beef with, and we don't know why. Now, there's something going on, but I don't know what it is. But something's happening.
I ain't want to talk about that though.
Oh, she's having a little breakdown. But Nathalie and I have not done a podcast in like a month, and we've tried, but we've been so damn busy with life, and both of us are in a bad place right now. But
what bad place are you in? You're always fine.
I just because I seem like I'm fine doesn't mean I'm fine in my head. You know what I'm saying? I got issues too.
Oh, well, you don't talk to me about them. I talk to you about mine.
You've been talking to me about your issues forever, so I'm always taking on your issues.
Well, why don't you share yours? I wouldn't mind helping you.
How can you help me? I'm crazy, according to you.
I didn't say I never said you're crazy. You never expressed any of your things. You just talk about work all the time and all your
just
stuff.
Like you.
Yeah, but I have other things going on.
Like what?
I have all my mental issues I'm dealing with.
See, that's what both of us are going through. The same
down about life and all that stuff.
God, we need help. We need a vacation. I think it's a vacation. Like
I'm overdue for a break. That's why I'm having. But you know what?
I've talked to you about. You should have taken a vacation 4 months ago, and I told you to do it. I
can't right now. I have to get some people hired before I can.
Nathalie and I recently. I have to. Well, before we talk about our show topic today, we usually go about and talk about some issues that. Not issues, but the situations that occur with us. Well, it's not issues, but now that I took a recent trip to Tallahassee to watch our son Noah play in a soccer tournament.
Yes.
And it was a good trip. But 2 things happened to me, and I have to bring it up because it really bothered me.
You're so bothered by some basic stuff.
It's very basic, but when you hear my dilemma, you'll understand why I'm bringing it up. So it was Saturday night. We're driving around, and we happened to see
Don't say the name. Just say the hot sign.
We happen to see the hot now sign at
a donut shop.
At a donut shop. You all know what I'm talking about. So I'm like, hell yeah. So
big red hot now sign.
The big red hot now sign. I'm like, man, we haven't had one of those in a while. So we turn the car around and go up there. And right when we get into the parking lot, they turn the sign off, So I'm like, oh, I'm still going in there because I know they got hot donuts in there. So
because they cooking and they on the rack.
Yeah.
Moving around.
So my son and I go into the store. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to have 4 of your hot donuts. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to have 4 hot donuts. The lady comes to me and goes, oh, sir, we don't have hot donuts.
So essentially the light went off as we were walking into the store.
Now, the light doesn't control the machine where the hot donuts are made, first of all.
Right.
The light is just the light that tells everybody,
because the conveyor belt was moving.
I'm in the store. I can see the hot donuts on the conveyor belt still. I can see the hot steam coming off the oil and the donuts are still coming out. And she tells me, sir, we don't have hot donuts. So I think in my head, I'm like, am I asking for too much if I get 4 hot donuts here?
Yes.
Am I wrong for wanting 4 hot donuts, even though the sign was just turned off a minute before? She must have thought I was stupid or something. She's like, sir, we don't have hot donuts. bitch, I see the donuts right there. I was looking at her and I looked over. When she said I looked over and I'm looking at the donuts in the hot oil. And she's like, yes, sir, we can't provide hot donuts now. I'm like, I just saw the sign. And now if I was Natalie's like, oh, I just saw the sign on here.
Oh, Natalie would have came out with 4 hot donuts.
That's 100.
I stayed in the car.
That's 100% true. Natalie would have came out there probably with 6 hot donuts or more by the time she's done with them. But I don't like conflict with people, so I'm like, okay, I'll just take your donuts. And I ate those donuts in disgust.
He got in the car.
I was mad the entire damn time. Man.
Fussing and carrying on about the donuts and how she treated him. I'm like, that's why in that moment, you go get your donuts.
I should have got my donuts. I regret not getting the donuts. Whoever you are in Tallahassee there, you're crazy and you're...
it's just like when I went to that store, sneaker store with the check.
Yeah,
and they said...
Yeah. Same thing, yes.
And I did an exchange. The same shoe, not the same shoe, different colored shoe.
Same exact
price,
shoe.
Same
Correct.
Price.
Yes.
Everything. Same shoe model, just different color.
And they're trying to charge you more.
Yeah, they wanted to take off the discount we got when I bought the shoe the first time.
It's the same damn shoe.
And I'm exchanging the shoe.
It's the same damn shoe.
And I left there
with a new pair of shoes.
With the new shoes with the same price. That's right. And I was not about to play. That girl was like, oh God, here we go. Now, I said, yep, bring me the manager.
Now I've done that before when I had a service at an establishment down near International Drive when we made arrangements for a birthday party and we had a table. And they sat us up front. And then while we're sitting up front watching the stage and the performers, they tried to tell us, oh, we made a mistake. Your table's actually in the back. I said, hell no. You made the mistake. We're staying right here. And the people I was with said, no, Ian, let's move. I'm like, no, we're not moving anywhere. We're staying right here.
That was a bold move by Ian because Ian never stands up.
I never stand up for myself.
He never says anything.
Because most battles in life aren't really meant to be fought. Really, they're not.
But they shouldn't have to be fought. They should be discussed and handled properly.
But the problem is, most of the time I don't feel like discussing. I'm like, because it's not a big loss. It really isn't a big loss and it's not a big deal.
They weren't going to get my $20 that day at the check store.
But man, that donut, I don't know why that donut thing really bothered. You know what it was? If I wouldn't have seen the sign and then seen the donuts cooking, I could have walked over there and taken out a donut and ate it right there. And it'd been hot. And then I'd been like, well, what are you going to do now, lady? I mean, what's your damn problem?
They would call it popo.
That's the problem. I didn't. Plus, they all had they had attitude problems in it. They're arguing with each other in there about stupid stuff. So I think they were mad at me for coming in there and asking for 4. When I think it's a better price if you order half a dozen and a dozen. If you order half a dozen at a time, I think it's better for them. But that's the first thing. What's the second thing I want to bring up?
The makeup store.
Oh,
the cosmetic store.
I was parked. Waiting for Natalie to come out of the store she was doing some shopping, and while I was parked, this guy comes running out of this makeup store.
It was a cosmetic store. They sell all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so it's a pretty famous store.
It's a big store.
It's a big store. So the guy comes running out, and I see him, and I guess he stole something because I heard this little beeping thing going off, and I'm just watching. I'm like, that guy gets into the car, and they just haul ass. I'm like, oh man, what did he take? So I'm worried, and finally Natalie comes out. I was like, Natalie, did you see the guy steal something from the store? She goes, no, I didn't see him. I'm like, yeah, he ran into a car. I didn't get his license plate number because I wasn't trying to look for it at the time. So I finally drive up to the store. And Natalie goes, go in there and tell him that you saw the thing. I'm like, I don't know if I want to bother them. But I finally decided to go into the store. I'm like, hey, the guy dropped the thing that he stole. It's in the parking lot. And what the lady said next to me made me realize that they deserve to be robbed. I'm going to tell you why. So I said, yeah. She goes, oh, yeah, this happens all the time. What do you mean this happens all the time? She goes, oh yeah, people come into our store. We let them look at a sample, they just take it and run. So you're stupid too for allowing your samples to be taken. Why don't you say no samples or just have tiny samples and be like, oh, here's a sample. You don't get the touches until you purchase it. We get your money first. Then we give you the perfume or whatever it is you're going to take. I lost all respect for the owners of the store and the people that work there after hearing about that. How are you going to say this happens all the time and then act like it's no big deal?
Well, people be robbing people like crazy these days.
What's wrong with people? Why are people doing this?
I don't know.
People just feel like they can just do whatever they want?
Yeah, I guess that's, or they feel entitled to things.
But I don't understand why people are doing. I mean, is it that's it? Just a sense of entitlement?
Well, I mean, there's multiple reasons why people steal. I mean, multiple. So you just don't know what that person's reason was.
Well, we saw the video that got the lady, people at Best Buy that tried to go in the store and got tackled.
Oh, yeah. That was on Facebook Reel. That was a real video. though.
I don't know what's wrong with people, man. It just you just go into a store and just do
well,
that.
I mean, people suffer a lot and they need money. I mean, sometimes it's for drugs. Sometimes they need this money to buy whatever.
Let's go in there and just take it.
And they just take it because they feel like the store has a lot. So why they can't just, their one thing they're taking isn't a big deal.
They're technically right, but it's still.
Well, you pay, everybody pays for it eventually.
Everyone's going to pay for it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Nothing is free in this country. There's nothing. Everything's got to pay for everything.
Yup.
Oh, God. Well, that was my 2 stories of recent that
Ian's traumatic
that biatch in Tallahassee, and then the 2 crazy.
You don't know that lady calling her out of her name.
I did. I don't give a damn. And then the lady, and then the owners of the store that been robbed multiple times, and you continue to keep the product out so people can try it, and they run out of the store again. I don't know why you keep doing that. You should close down for being stupid. That's what I think. But let's get on to your 5 minutes a pound, because the audience doesn't know what you've been doing since our last podcast. What have I been doing?
I'm training for my couch to 5K.
Yes.
I've been doing major training. So I've been running 3 times a week, every week for the last 5 weeks. I've actually been diligent. I have not missed any.
I've witnessed this.
If I miss a day, I'll make sure I make up my 3 days for the week.
I've witnessed this personally. She actually gets up in the morning, gets herself ready, and she actually.
It takes me forever to get up.
She just sits there for about a good hour. And then she finally gets up, gets her clothes on. She could actually get this done by 7 or 7:30. I
struggle to get up in the morning.
But she'll get up like at 5 or 4:30 and just sit there.
I struggle. I'm struggling right now.
I hear it in the bed, and I don't want to look at her because she's going to look at me, and I'm like, I ain't got nothing to say to you. So I just sit there and pretend like sometimes I'm still sleeping, and then sometimes I fall asleep again.
Well, everyone's at different phases. I am
and
right
then I
now.
Get up.
Why are you trying to talk over me?
No, I'm not.
It's my 5 minutes of pounds. I haven't been able to talk because you've been talking.
Go ahead.
Dang, dude. Gosh.
Go ahead.
What I was trying to say was, I've been doing the running. I can't get up in the morning because I struggle to wake up. Like I struggle just to get out of bed sometimes. So this is new for me, but it's just where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
I really do need a break, and I'm hoping to get one soon. So I'm still taking my little tablets, which I'm trying to get off of them things. I don't think I'll stay on.
Remind the audience.
I feel fine though.
Remind the audience what tablets you're taking again.
I don't know. It's like an antidepressant or something.
She's taking tablets prescribed to her by the doctor.
Yeah, bupropion or something like that. But it's fine. I mean, I don't like taking medicine, but I don't know. I don't know if it's helping or not. I have no idea because I still can't get out of bed in the morning.
Yes,
I still feel down a lot of times. Like I think a lot of it is the world right now that we live in, and the information that I keep seeing and all the bad things that are happening. It's really dragging me down.
I think that's the thing that affects a lot of people, though. It's not just
like
you.
It's just too much, and you feel like you have no control.
Yeah,
these people just come. I hate to talk about this, but people just come with their guns and they do stuff, and you have no control. You could be sitting there eating an ice cream cone, and somebody just decide to roll up and shoot everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just makes me sad inside, and I'm having a hard time dealing with all these.
I'm the same way.
These sad things that are happening unnecessarily, and I don't. There's no real solution to it. Nothing. You can't say, oh, if we do this one thing, it'll solve everything. It doesn't. It's not going to work that way.
I think it's a culmination of issues they have to deal with,
right?
Slowly over time to try to address what's going on, because you can't just get rid of guns. That's really not going to solve.
It's not going to solve anything. It's not in this country. We have too much guns already.
It's not going to stop.
It ain't going to stop.
There's other issues at work here.
Right, but it's just sad. It's just sad to when you see the result of all these things. People who lose their lives, they never come back. So I think it's just all the bad stuff is just weighing me down, and I don't have enough good. Like I don't have enough friends. I don't have time to hang out all the time. I don't have friends to hang out with. So what I did this week, I did hang out with a friend this week. I made an effort to go to dinner so I could just talk and have some social interaction. Because otherwise, even though I'm running and I'm running for like 30 minutes, 35 running. And I'm doing the run walk because the couch to 5K, you do the run walk. You run for I think I'm up to about 8 minutes running and then 2 or 3 minutes walking.
That's pretty good though.
So yeah, but I'm super slow. But my goal is so I can run without being tired. Then I'll work on speed after I get to the point where I can keep running and not stop.
Yeah, well, that's what you do is you do it for you and what makes you comfortable, and then that's the whole purpose of it, right?
Yes, yes. That's right. And so if I do feel like walking, I'll give myself grace and I stop. I don't care but I won't stop walking for a long time. Yeah. Or if I do stop walking for a long time, at the end when my phone says it's done, I keep going for like another minute.
Oh, okay, good.
Or 30 seconds or something like that.
As long as you keep going, and I think consistency, I think you're going to get some good results.
Yeah. So I got to start working the gym in. I had set an alarm on my phone to say, hey, start going to the gym. And it's that alarm, I just hit snooze. Or no, I dismissed it. So hopefully I can get to the gym next. But yeah, so far, and I've lost from my peak weight, I've lost about 8 pounds.
That's good.
From my peak weight.
So you're definitely making improvements. So that's all you can ask for right now.
Yes, I'm getting there.
So that picture.
I'm getting there. So yeah.
Good.
So yes, that's where my 5 minutes. And that kind of talks about like what we're going to talk about today, right? So
yes.
I'm telling you about my life. I'm not hiding anything.
Correct.
And what we're going to talk about today is family secrets.
Oh man, this is family secrets, boy.
Yes.
This affects everybody on this podcast listening.
Well, I thought about this family secrets. Well, I've been watching this show. It's been on for a few years, and but I just started watching it, called Million Little Things. And
is it on Netflix?
No, it's on regular TV. I watch it on Hulu, but
okay.
And it's about this guy who commits suicide and all of his, and on the effects of all of his friends. They have like a friend group of a couple couples and one single guy. And it's about how all their secrets affect their lives, right? Because one was he was not feeling good and he committed to suicide. No one knew he was suicidal or he was planning. He planned his suicide. Like he did all these things.
They did a movie on Netflix about this. They did a similar thing on Netflix.
Well, yeah, it's a show. Yeah. But it got me thinking about like family secrets. Because I'm like, I know my parents had family secrets. Like I didn't find out. I have my parents, Sonny and Laurel. They had 7 children.
Here we go.
And me.
Here we go.
7 boys and me make 8.
That's 8. Yes.
That's 8.
That's 8 siblings.
Yes.
With your mom and dad.
Yes.
Okay.
We had 8 siblings, right?
Here it comes.
So when I was like 9 years old, one day my mom's like, your brother's coming to visit. I'm like, my brother? What brother is this? Because we, half my brothers live in England, half of us, and a few of us live here.
So you're like, well, brothers,
Yeah, she just said it like out of the blue, like this brother. And I'm like, who is she talking about? And she said the name. And I'm like, I don't have a brother with that name. And I was like, come to find out, mom had a kid years ago and never told us that she had a child in Jamaica. Never told us. So my other brother, I'm the youngest, right? So my youngest brother and I are 9 years apart. She never told us that. So for me, like I see my brother now, and we're fine. But my other brother, he is so affected. It like bothers him to his core that he had this brother for all these years and nobody told him. But then there's the kicker. Then we find out after the first brother that my dad has another child.
Oh man!
That he's got his own a son that he had, right? Because what happened was my parents were together. They had a couple kids.
They split up.
Then they split up, and they each had different kids.
So during the split up is when they each had their own kids.
Yeah, they each had other kids, and then they had So I'm like, how like how are you gonna have
how
this?
You just go through life and not bring that up?
And you not mentioned to me that you have another child. Like you always say, oh, you have 7. Like they always said, you have 7 brothers. You have 7 brothers. It was like a big deal because there were so many of us, and I have, I'm the only girl. You have 7 brothers, and you're the only girl. And so, how are you gonna have all these years? I'm like 9 years old, and then my brother. Now I'm 9, so my brother was in his 20s. My other brothers, when they found out that we had another brother, and then they come and find out we had another brother.
Oh boy!
So there was 2 extra kids that no one told us about, and then they just kind of like, oh, here, that's them. They don't talk to you about it, right? So family secrets. Like family secrets can mess people up. They can mess the people who the secret's about up. They can mess the people who don't know. I mean, it becomes a whole thing. And I don't know why we as people love to be so secretive and keep secrets. Because my mom, for her, I think she was embarrassed that she had another child or something. I'm not sure. I know why she left my brother in Jamaica. I know why she did that. And that was my dad's fault. And he said later on that he wished he hadn't done that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at the time he was a young guy. He's like, I'm not raising anyone else's kid.
Oh boy.
So I'm not, and now he looks back and he's like, that wasn't the smartest thing to say. Course. He said that wasn't the best idea he had. But he was young. You don't know anything.
Of course. You do things when you're young and you don't think about it till later on when you're older. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, why? But why do we have all these family secrets? Why do people carry these family secrets? What do they think it's helping? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't, because it's kind of like where I kind of thought about how it affects, which is a show, but the Million Little Things show, every time they have a secret, it affects. They show how it affects everybody, and other people are doing things, thinking one thing, but something else is really happening, and then it causes the whole situation to implode because people don't know information.
Yeah,
right.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like these weird, all these family secrets, but a lot of these family secrets should be told, but people, for whatever reason, it's like my mom with my brother. She didn't want to talk about it. She was embarrassed. I don't know what, but. And these secrets affect life because I think my mom not having a relationship with my other brother, with her son for a long time. Yes. I think that of course that's going to affect him.
Oh, of course.
He may not say that, but you know what I mean? So because he was so secretive and she never went to, I don't remember her leaving to go to Jamaica that often or whatever. So it's like, but if we knew if we had known and they had done things differently, then he would have been more of a part of our lives. Yep. But to spring somebody on and then we're raised totally differently and you never, and you don't tell nobody nothing. It's I don't know. The family secret thing just drives me crazy. Just be honest and tell what's up.
Yeah, we learned about that in our seminary classes. It's actually every family has a level of secrets, some worse than others.
Right.
What it comes down to is that every family has these secrets. And depending on the secret, like you said, the secret stays in and it affects the entire family structure from the secret down. It could be like a rape or an affair that was never spoken about, but it's there. And as long as you don't talk about it, it just gets worse and just goes through. And it spreads through the entire family tree. And it's not until probably a generation or two later, you're like, well, why is this person acting like this? Because what happens is attitudes and the way you see yourselves and depression and suicide, those stem from families. And sometimes a lot of that stems from family secrets, either an affair or there could be a history of drug abuse or rape in the family that you're like, well, why did our cousin do that? But when you start going back to your family tree, you're like, uh-oh. There's always a pattern.
Right, but you could maybe break them if you knew.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's why they get the term, what do they call? Family curse. That's what they get the family curse from. Same type of deal. But what it is these secrets that people don't tell you that go down the entire family line, all the way down to your kids. I already know why my kids act the way they do is because of me. But then I did a little research myself and found out that it goes back to my parents and then my grandparents. It's weird. And I actually drew a line all the way back down to me and my sister, and then my sister's kid. I'm like, this is scary because when you actually see it, it's real. It doesn't go away unless you
address it. Yeah.
If you address it and see it, then you can be like, okay.
But if it's a secret, how can you address it?
Yeah, nobody knows because
you don't know where it's coming from.
Why is this person acting this way? They're crazy. It's not that they're crazy. There's a history in the family. And you just, once you recognize it, if somebody tells you about it early, then you're like, okay, we need to go see a doctor, take steps to kind of cut this off so it doesn't go down and continue. And every family, whatever family it is, it could be, and it's not your typical mom and dad. It could be whatever group you're part of. That's what it is. That's what you...
Right, because even friends.
Yes, whatever you consider your family. It's the same thing.
Because even in college, I had friends. These are the people who I hang out with. And then years later, they tell me, oh, this guy who used to always act like he liked me, but I never I knew better.
Yeah.
Because he was a hoe back then. And I was like, I already told him, I was like, you're a hoe. I'm not messing with you because I value myself.
Yes.
So, but afterwards I found out that he had slept with one of the girls because he acted like he was King Kong, like he was a Mandingo all the time. And so the girl was like, okay, well, let me find out what you got going on. Right.
Yeah.
And so he hooked up with the girl. And I'm like, none of y'all ain't told me. Damn. All these, it was 15 years later.
Even the girl that slept with him didn't say anything.
Right, but I wasn't that good of friends with her. She was in the circle.
I got.
But she was not
you weren't cool like that with her.
No. Yeah, because she was kind of different. That's not somebody who I would hang with.
But your friends never told you this.
No.
When it happened.
In college, no one said anything.
Damn.
Years later, somebody said to me, "Oh yeah, she had hooked up with." I'm like, damn. And I'm like, why didn't y'all tell me?
Yeah, what happens if you would have been like, all right, let's do this, and he had hooked up with the girl? Damn.
And so they was like, they didn't want to tell me because they knew I'd get mad.
Why would you get?
But me and him ain't never had we went out a couple times, but I already knew he was a hoe, and I wasn't gonna date him like that. I'm like, I'm not messing with you like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right? And he was trying to get my stuff, and I was like, that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
But I was just like, why would y'all hold that secret? Like, that's what I'm saying, secrets,
man.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if I wasn't a different person, I could have hooked up with him, not knowing had he already been with the friend.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I'm like.
And it affects your circle now because now he's slept with you and another girl that's in the circle.
Right. But luckily I didn't do nothing with him like that. So it didn't happen.
But this thing happens in real life to other people.
Right.
This same thing we're talking about is a scenario that happens to other people. There are people right now that, I mean, we're talking about families, but there are people that have relationships with somebody else, whether it's a friendship, and people don't say things and it affects the circle, but people don't say anything. That's kind of keep it quiet.
Right. Well, like part of this thing is I watched, there was this documentary. This documentary was crazy. It was called what was it called?
Ooh.
Little White Lie. And it was on like Netflix or Prime or something like that. And this girl, she was raised Jewish. Okay. Her mom and dad, the people who were her parents who raised her were Jewish. Okay. And her hair was a little different. Her skin was a little different.
Yes.
And so they had an uncle, like in a picture, they were like, I think, I don't know, well, they were Jewish, but I don't know. I think they had an uncle. I think they said maybe he was Italian or something, but he had a little more olive skin. His skin was a little darker.
Yeah.
Right. So they were like, oh, she must take after the uncle. Right. But this girl looked different from everybody. And she was raised around all white people in like a white Jewish community.
Yeah.
An affluent community. And she was raised white.
And there's this, boy.
So she didn't know that she wasn't white.
But she didn't look white.
But they told her she looked like the uncle. Right?
Man, you got
but this is a true story. This actually happened. Right? So then that's why she made a documentary about her life. So then it wasn't until, because she went to school with all white people. She didn't know any black people or any other people. It wasn't until she went to high school somehow and she met these other kids. And the kids were like, girl, you mixed. And she's like, no, I'm white. And they're like, no, you're mixed. And then she started like questioning things. And it wasn't even until she went to college is where she found out her mom had an affair with this black guy. Yep. And that was her dad.
See? Your DNA doesn't lie. The way you appear doesn't necessarily lie. So parents may tell you something, this is your dad or whatever, and you're looking around yourself knowing, and you feel different. You feel
Yes, she did. She
different.
Said when she ended up going, they categorized her for college as black, but she didn't mark anything.
Yeah.
But they had a picture.
Yeah.
And so
she's black.
She ended up, I think, like she met some kids like in the Black Student Alliance or something. And then she felt comfortable. Like she felt more comfortable there.
Yeah, because she's black.
But even though but her whole life, she was raised as a white Jewish person. She did not know she was passing because she thought she was a white. That's how she identified.
But the world saw her totally different. Right. But
she didn't understand.
She didn't understand why.
Right. And not until she went to school and the kids were like, nah, girl, like look at pictures of other kids with black and white parents and they look like you.
Yes.
Like the skin tone, the hair.
Man, that's horrible.
They look similar. So so her parents ended up splitting up because it came out and she ended up meeting her I don't remember if she met her dad, if he died before. I can't remember.
Her real dad.
Her real dad. But she had met him. Her mom would take her to New York City every now and again.
To see her uncle.
To see, like, they would be out in the city.
Yes.
And they would happen to see her friend, which was her dad. Mm-hmm. And then, but she never spent a lot of time with this guy. They would just every now and again go to the city and see him. like once a year or something like that.
People's horniness affects so many things in their life. They think you cannot hide an affair in the result of a child from an affair from the child.
I know, but people try.
Especially now with DNA. Everybody out there that's cheating and you had offspring cheating, think you're going to hide it, they're going to get a DNA test and you're going to be found out. Because that's what's going on. When I'm reading these articles, all these kids and a lot of it's random. They're like, I'm going to take this DNA test, But the crazy part is a lot of these kids are white. And so when they take these tests, they find out that mom or dad's not related to them. They're like, what the heck? This is weird. What's going on here? Then they approach them and dad, and mom and dad are like, yeah.
Yeah, but and that affects people.
It does.
Really bad, like to their core.
Yeah, because now you're not my parent or you're not.
And it's confusing for them. And that's what happened to that girl. It was confusing.
Well, they've been lied to their entire lives. That's what it comes. You're better off just telling the child the truth about the situation early on.
Right, and what happened,
even though you made a mistake, holding on to that mistake, thinking you're going to die with it, it makes it worse when it comes out.
Right, and it's like, you know what they say, all things done in the dark come to light. Like, and then secrets come out in crazy ways. Yes. And that's part of the problem too. They may come out at a wedding. Yes. They may come out at a funeral.
On Facebook.
Or, anywhere. I mean, and then now everyone's even hurt even more than if they were sat down and were talked to.
The one thing I learned in seminary is that when you try to do things in the dark, like, nefarious things and things you're not supposed to do,
they come to light.
The devil will be like, I'm going to let you live this lie. Because he does. He lets you live this lie and you think you're going to get away with it. And the one day it comes all out and you're fully exposed to your lie.
It always seems to happen.
Yeah. So if you have an issue, it's better that you just admit it. I mean, even though some of it might be embarrassing, admit it, talk about it, try to work through it the best you can. That way the devil can't use it against you, or anybody can use it against you. Once you admit it.
Right, because lies are what people use to blackmail people.
Yeah, once you try to hide the lie, that's what the enemy uses to blackmail you, because that's your secret.
Two, you can't live free. You're living, because you're living this lie, that lie walks with you every day.
Yes.
And it's a burden. It's like you're carrying this heavy bag every day of your life because you're carrying around this lie.
That's correct.
Especially when you see the person that you're lying to and you know it affects them.
That's so horrible.
So like that's like the family lies and family secrets stuff is just it's too much for me. And I'd rather everything be out in the open.
I wouldn't be surprised
even
if
it's
brothers
horrible
or sisters that I don't know about. I wouldn't be surprised if my mom or dad told me. I'd be like, I knew it. I knew I had an extra brother or sister out there.
Well, then the other day I found out I probably shouldn't say this.
Go ahead.
But
you already started.
I didn't know, but my dad supposedly has a jacket.
Damn.
And a jacket in Jamaican terms, a jacket is basically an illegitimate child. Like someone says that child is yours.
I remember this.
Yeah, someone says this child is yours. And so I said to my dad, I said, someone reached out to him, and I said, Dad, why don't you just get a DNA test for once and for all and know what the deal is? My dad's like 90. He's like, oh no, I don't know. One minute he's like, I have a granddaughter. Next minute he's like, no, I don't know. I don't have any. And I'm like, Dad, just get a damn DNA test.
Your dad wants to take that to the grave with him, man.
No, but then my brother, he's mad. Like he always gets mad about everything.
The same one about everything?
He's mad about everything.
Okay.
How do you have this? And he's like, I can't believe you guys keep doing this. And I'm like,
why is he so?
He just gets so hurt.
Really?
He is truly hurt by the fact that my parents hid this information from him.
If you guys met this brother of Natalie's, you think he's all cool with everything, but he ends up being the one that's the most sensitive out of all the brothers I know. I'm like, why? Even me, of all people, that's very sensitive. I'm like, dude, why are you all so sensitive?
He is hurt.
Like all these things that happen, you're the only one I know that's acting like this. Very overly
here's the thing. So
sensitive.
If my dad has this jacket, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
How do I know that my child one day might not meet one of their children because circles are small?
Yes.
Right? And now we don't know.
They're in a relationship. Yeah.
Right.
Next thing you're with a cousin.
Right. Like you have no idea, right? Because I don't know this family member or this, I hate to say the word jacket, but I just think it's a funny term. It's just a funny term.
An illegitimate child.
Yeah. So it's a child. Someone says that's your child, but you're like, that's not my child. It's a jacket.
I want a test.
It's like it's a jacket, but my dad won't get the test. So we talked about getting the test, and he was like,
You can get a piece of his hair right now and just send in the test yourself.
But I would need the other person's DNA too to do.
Oh, you can get theirs too. It's got to be.
I told him he should call the person and ask them, because I'm like, Dad, why are you?
What's the big deal?
Because it was like the person's daughter reached out, like his daughter, like his it would have been his granddaughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she reached out. So I'm like,
well, if she reached out, but
then I'm like, Dad, what if she thinks you're her grandpa and you're not? So then she could find her real grandpa.
Yes.
I'm like, you need to figure out the truth.
Yeah, I agree. You can't just let people go on with life thinking there's something hanging on that hasn't been answered.
Right, and it may not be.
It's like a burden.
And he's like, the dates don't add up. I don't remember. My dad's 90 now. So
of course I don't remember.
This is like 60 years ago.
I wouldn't remember. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't remember either.
But he's saying no, but from back then or whatever, he said it wasn't. So I'm just like, oh my gosh.
He just forgot.
Y'all got all this drama.
Yeah.
Like, just get it taken care of.
But it's not just your dad. It's millions of men.
Well, yeah, this happens all over.
All over the world. I mean, I hear stories of men traveling from one family to another. Some airline pilots would travel when they travel.
Oh, sure.
When they travel to one part of the country, that's one family. They live there and travel to another. I'm like, people actually do that? Like,
two
families?
Yeah,
You have a family of kids here, and then a family of the wife and kids here.
Yeah, well, you know what they were talking about is they were saying like in Africa, right? They have, I forgot which country, but a lot of China is building infrastructure.
Yes.
In different countries in Africa, right?
Yes.
And so the Chinese people will come, they'll bring their own workers, and those workers will have children with the local people.
Interesting.
And some of these people may have families at their home. But this is something it was a whole article I read about it.
Oh, really?
And so now, and then the workers leave and they go back to China. And so they don't know, these women don't know if they had families before. Some of these men, are going to have, that's just what a lot of guys do, hate to say, who work in other places.
They're going to sleep with women wherever they go.
Right. Yeah. And then that's what happens. So that's a whole nother,
So what happens is you might be sleeping with a sister or half sister or brother.
Right.
You really don't know.
As time goes on,
of course.
You don't know.
And what happens is more and more of us are going to be closer and closer together because no one's telling secrets. You're just sleeping around. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So the offspring, wherever, but the chance of the world is a small place now. It's not as big as we think it is. So
not anymore.
You might end up sleeping with your sister or your brother, and it's not your fault. It's not like it's your fault.
Right? Because you may not even know.
You don't know nothing. Oh, scary stuff, man. Scary stuff.
So, but that's how. So I mean, all I want to say is if you got family secrets, try to find a way to tell the family, because holding on to secrets do nothing. Yeah. It doesn't solve anyone's problem. It just makes everything bigger, because what's done in the dark always comes to light at some point or another. And it's better to deal with things head on and have support, as in therapy if you need it, or whatever support system that you would need to deal with the issue when you tell everybody, than to hide with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Because it's just I hate to say it, the Duggar family.
Oh, man, that dude.
Right, now I'm going to wrap up. But the Duggar family, right? It was a secret.
They knew about it for years.
Did this to the sisters.
They knew about this for years, and they just didn't do anything. I'm like,
no. So now this guy's gone and had children. I don't think they've said that he's ever hurt his children.
I don't think it's his own, but it's his sisters.
But his sister. But then I'm saying then he ended up doing other things because it was a secret.
Yes. Oh, God. When I heard about that, I'm like, oh, man, you guys knew about it, but you didn't. It's not, that person's not going to change.
Right. And that person, luckily, they haven't said anything that this happened, and hopefully it didn't, but he could have touched any of his siblings' children.
Yes.
Because they're not his kids, so he's not going to look at them. So, that could happen. Yeah. Because now part of it would be for the sisters to have been like, no, you can't be around my kids or whatever. But it's the same thing with the family. Other family members wouldn't know that he did something. I get why they keep it a secret, but that's in one of the ways that those secrets can harm other people. Yeah. And because they don't know. Right. So it's just, I don't know. It's just the secret thing. It just drives me crazy. The secret
thing is universal. It's not just applies to this country. It's all over, man. There's secrets, and people are, I wish they wouldn't continue to keep, for some strange reason, they believe that holding on to the secret will make things better. But from what I've read and seen, it, unless you just talk about it and get it out, it just tends to manifest itself in different ways.
Yeah, and then
as it goes down the line.
Causes problems. Just like my brother got issues because he wasn't told earlier in life that he had brothers, and now they told him in his 20s, and he's hurt by it. To this day, years later, 30 years later, he's still hurt.
Remember that crazy movie that I had to watch in seminary about this guy is going to see his mother before she dies on her deathbed, and in her deathbed he tells her something, and he has this crazy look in his face. He's like, "What the heck?" The secret was his dad had raped a woman.
Oh, Lord.
A black woman, and she had a son. And the son was his half brother, a black man.
Oh.
So he was like, he thought it was a lie. And he goes to see this man.
Wait, wasn't that a real story?
It was. I think it was based on a real story, but it was.
Okay.
I forgot the name of the movie. It was. I forgot who. It was. James Earl.
Yeah, but then all these years later, I remember. I saw that movie.
Yeah.
But all these years later, all this time that these people could have had a relationship together.
That's the whole point of the story.
And then now that hasn't happened.
So they're both old men in their 60s, and now he's driving across the country. And he's like, "Hey, you're my brother," and the black guy's like, "I know. We all know the story about your dad." And
but he didn't know.
He didn't know.
Right? Everybody else knew, but he didn't know.
Like the white guy thought, "Oh, this is not true. This would never happen." And the black people are like, "All of us knew this was true for years. We were waiting to see when you're going to show up."
That was a good movie.
See, that's why secrets hurt, is when you're not hurting the black people weren't hurt because they had been abused or whatever, but the white guy's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe my dad did this, first of all, but I can't believe no one told me this growing up that I had this brother.
Right.
Until my mom told me in her dying on the bed.
Yeah, like people who have twins who are separated.
Yes, yeah, man.
It's just horrible.
And so that the whole point of the story is that the secret never dies. I mean, yeah, if the person takes them with to the grave, yes, but the results of it, someone is going to be the bearer of the secret, whether it's the person that does it or knows about it, or the person that doesn't know about the secret. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I watched that movie. At first, I thought it was cheesy, and I was like, man. I started watching. I'm like, man, this affects people in real life every day. These secrets, man. Secret lovers, secret affairs, secret rapes, child abuse, whatever it is. These secrets.
Horrible.
Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But man, overall, the people just hold on to it. Yeah. And, it just goes down the line, Alcoholism, all this stuff that's in the depression, all these things you think of that. Oh, why am I acting this way? Oh, it's because...
Yeah, I didn't know depression was in my family. Oh, but yeah. I realized as I got older, I observed.
It's in my family.
I see that is there. And anxiety and things like that.
All these things, anxiety, are things that you pass on in your genes to your offspring.
Right, then when you don't talk to your children about it,
they don't know.
You have it. Then if they have anything, they can't recognize and say, "Oh, it's a family thing."
They think it's just them,
right? And they're alone.
Yeah, and I had to tell my son a couple times, like, why you do the things the way you do? Why, Dad? I'm like, I did the exact same. Like when he does things, I'm like, I did the exact same thing you're doing now. I don't want you to feel like you're by yourself. I've had to learn to adjust and adapt to try to work into a world that doesn't work well with how I act. So I've had to change the way I do things.
Right.
Because sometimes you can tell he's nervous, and I'm like, it's normal to feel nervous, but you just have to learn to work with it if you have to talk to a doctor. But yeah, all these secrets and things get passed down to you. Anxiety, the way you think about stuff, worrisome, you could pass it on to your kids.
Right. So if you want to save your family tree, talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Talk about it.
I do your best to talk about it.
The future, your future lineage. Talk about it.
Even if it's an affair and there's a secret child somewhere, it seems bad now, but talk about it, get it done, because trust me, the results will be much better in the future than they know now.
Yeah, and you don't want your child bringing somebody home that could be their relative.
Yeah, man. Oh, that'd be more awkward.
It happens.
Hey, man, your kid looks crazy.
That's the thing. Art imitates life, right? All these movies you see, you'll find a situation somewhere that resembles it.
Hey, what was that crazy one we saw where the guy was in prison and the guy finally let him out of prison and he ended up meeting his daughter? Remember?
Oh, that was a horrible movie. I don't even know the name. I want to talk about that.
Man.
That was a horrible movie.
The guy got revenge.
I can't. That was a sick movie, man.
It was kind of a sick movie, but it was all on the same lines as a secret.
Well, there was a secret, yes.
Yeah, but he didn't know, and the guy knew he didn't know, and he made sure he suffered the consequences.
God, that was horrible. That was so horrible.
All right.
I'm glad I don't remember the name of that because I don't even want. I'm glad that you even brought it up to put it back in my mind. That was gone from my brain.
Now I didn't know how bad it was till I watched. I'm like, oh, this is worse than
It was horrible.
Oh, this is worse than I thought it was. But yeah, that's a good topic, man. That was hold on to the secret. I mean, don't hold on to the don't hold on to the secrets. Whatever you do, if you can, talk about them and try to get help. Whatever you can, don't let it go because it will affect somebody in your family line, or not even. It doesn't have to be in your direct family. It could be a friend, and that's what I discovered is we're all connected through these secrets. Like you don't think your secret affects other people looking at your family or your little circle, but that's not true. The secret goes out and it impacts everybody, and that's why we're all connected in this world. When something happens, it ends up affecting all of us somehow. So, all right. Do you have any encouraging words before we get the hell out of here? For another month, probably.
Have a good week.
All right. Join us on our streaming platforms, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. What's the green one that you use? Spotify, and all the other streaming platforms. Check out The Family Mess. Even on Instagram, The Family Mess. Facebook, The Family Mess Podcast. What's the other one? Is that all of them? That's all of them.
I have no idea.
But thank you guys. Hopefully we'll go out. We'll come out another... I'm going to say another 2 weeks, but who knows when the hell we're going to come out again. So continue to support us. We love the downloads, guys.
And share. Tell your friends.
We're trying to become the number one
cousins,
podcast
uncles,
in the country.
Aunties.
Please
share.
download and share and subscribe. We love you guys.
And if you have show ideas, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter. What's our email? TheFamilyMess@gmail.
Yeah.
TheFamilyMess@gmail.com.
Oh, no.
.com, yes. And what else we got? Oh, and The Family Mess at Instagram. If you have any.
Yes.
I love The Family Mess.
We need to hire somebody to do our social media. We're dying here, but.
Thanks for listening.
Talk to you guys later. God bless today.